Story. I have really always taken that verse 16, where it says that we're supposed to lay down our lives for our friends. By this we know love. Just by this we know what love is, and that we are experiencing God's love. That He laid down His life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. I've always taken that rather literally. But the bottom line is probably none of us will ever have the opportunity or the challenge to lay our lives down for somebody else. For me to lose my life for one of you, or for you to lose your life for me. But we're not going to have that opportunity. I could be surprised, but probably not. It just doesn't happen. So you wonder if John meant something a little bit different. And I think he did. And I think it's kind of revealed in this story. And I'm going to kind of address that this morning for a few minutes. So Maria and Emily, they're really close friends. They've known each other forever. They went to college together, and they shared a lot of similar experiences as they were growing up. But recently, Emily had been going through a particularly hard time. Her father had been laid off from his job, and with her family struggling to make ends meet, Emily was under immense financial stress. She began skipping meals, not because she wanted to, but because her family simply could not afford extra groceries. Maria noticed Emily's weight loss and how tired she seemed all the time. So one day after class, Maria found Emily sitting alone in the library, looking discouraged. Maria asked what was wrong, and after some hesitation, Emily opened up about her family's financial situation. Maria didn't come from a wealthy family either, but she knew that she made more, or had more than Emily did. So she was moved with compassion and recalling. It's okay, what was that, you?
That was me.
Shame on you. So, I'll start the story all over again. No, though Maria didn't come from a wealthy family herself, she knew she had more than Emily. So she was moved with compassion, and recalling the love Christ showed by laying down His life for others, Maria decided she couldn't sit by and watch her friend suffer. So that weekend, Maria took some of her savings and purchased a week's worth of groceries for Emily's family. And that wasn't easy for her because Maria had been saving for a personal trip she had been looking forward to for months. But she knew her friend's needs were greater. When Maria showed up at Emily's house with bags of groceries, Emily was overwhelmed with gratitude. Maria, I can't accept this. You don't have to do this. Emily protested. But Maria insisted, saying, this is what friends are for. You don't have to go through this alone. Maria didn't stop just there. For the next several weeks, she invited Emily to have dinner with her family so Emily wouldn't have to worry about her meals. Maria also helped Emily search for an on-campus job so she could contribute to her family's income. Maria's small act of love over time lifted a huge burden off of Emily's shoulders. Though Maria never mentioned it, she canceled her personal trip. But she didn't regret her decision. She knew that loving in deed and truth was far more meaningful than just expressing concern or offering empty words. This story shows how Maria laid down her life for her friend by sacrificing her own plans, sharing what she had, and being there for Emily in her time of need. And it's an example of how we can practice selfless love, not just with words, but through a tangible action that reflects Christ's love for us. So the title of my sharing this morning is called Love in Action, based on 1 John 3:16 through 18, which Rob read. And I've got 3 points and a couple sub-points. The first point of this sermon is that love requires sacrifice. That's what Jesus did. He sacrificed His love. So love requires sacrifice. That's what John 3:16, 1 John 3:16 says. By this we know that He laid down His life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. So Christ gave the ultimate example of a sacrifice. In John 15:13 it says, greater love has no other one than this, that someone laid down His life for friends. Consider what we observed, I think back in 2001 it was, when the World Trade Centers were basically blown up. And first responders and firefighters, you saw pictures of them running into the building. That's an act of sacrifice that I can't imagine. I would probably run away from it, partly because I'm not trained to help people, but I would want to protect my lives. And we saw a lot of people running away, but we saw a few people running into the building. So a firefighter, those kind of people, they risk their lives because they know the value of others' lives is worth the sacrifice, just as Christ knew our worth when he went to the cross for us. I also think conversely about what occurred at Uvalde, the school shooting, and there were there were policemen there for half an hour or more before they actually breached the rooms. There was shooting going on and they were not doing anything. And they got a lot of heat about that, and the main policeman guy resigned. But that's an example of maybe the opposite way to handle that. But that's what happened in our country. So sacrificing for others in our daily life is an important thing to consider. Scripture 12:1 says, I appeal to you to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Just imagine something, a mother who gives up her career to care for her sick child full time. While her career and ambitions are important, she sacrifices them out of love, prioritizing the needs of her child over her own. In the same way, love for others should lead us to make daily sacrifices, big and small. Do you know any examples of that? You know people in your life who have given up their lives just to care for that child who is, had problems that need care? We've had some throughout our life.
Many people give up their lives to take care of their parents, too.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, the second point is love acts of compassion. 1 John 3:17 says, but if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? That is a thing that occurs in me that I'm so grateful for. I can't help people all the time, but anytime I see somebody in need, my heart goes out to them. I just don't close them off. I just don't say, well, too bad for you. I like that about me. I'm assuming it's the same way with you because the Spirit of God lives in you. Love notices the needs of others. Love notices the needs of others. Matthew 25:35 and 36 says this, for I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. So imagine a group of friends that goes out for lunch, and one of them notices the server looks really tired and sad. Instead of ignoring it, they ask how she's doing and find out she's struggling financially. Moved with compassion, they leave a generous tip and words of encouragement. This shows how love pays attention to others' needs. Have you ever been in a situation like that where you thought, maybe that waitress could use a little bit of encouragement, and God allows you to respond in ways that would bless them and help them? Another point is that love responds with action, not apathy. Action, not apathy. In James 2:15 and 16, it says, if a brother or sister is poorly clothed and lacking in daily food, and one of you says to them, go in peace, be warmed and filled, without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? Here's another illustration. A church member hears about a family in the congregation that recently lost their home in a fire. Instead of offering just words of sympathy, the member organizes a drive to collect clothes, food, and money, putting compassion into action. Here's a final point. Point 3, love is demonstrated through action, not words. 1 John 3:18 says, little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and truth. So genuine love goes beyond just verbal expressions. James 1:22 says, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourself. Here's another illustration of that. Hopefully that's not the way, this is not the way we are, guys, but a man frequently tells his wife he loves her, but he never shows it in his action. He neglects her needs, he rarely helps around the house, and forgets important dates. Words without action are empty. True love is shown by what we do, not just what we say. Well, I've learned that in our home. Imagine you guys have too. Love reflects the truth of our faith. Galatians 5:6 says this, for in Christ Jesus, neither circumcision nor uncircumcision counts for anything, but only faith working through love. Another illustration reminds me of Carrie and Diana. A young woman attends church every Sunday, but rarely engages in helping others. Does that sound like them? No. One day, after hearing a sermon about love in action, this young woman volunteered at a local food bank. Her decision to serve becomes a reflection of her faith, demonstrating that love isn't just about relief, but about tangible service. I've always been amazed and impressed with the heart of the servant's heart that Diana and Carrie reflect. They don't get paid for what they do, yet they spend hours. Carrie did for years, and Diana now spend hours down there working and taking care of needy people in our community and doing it well. And that's an example of selfless love, of sacrificial love. I was thinking, so this is a really silly illustration, but how can I give a practical illustration of what it means to sacrifice? You know, we might say we're willing to give up our life for somebody, but like I told you earlier, that's not going to happen. It's just probably not going to happen. So how can I sacrifice for somebody? Well, I can give them something, some tangible item that they need that I have extras of. Make it a little more specific, maybe. Let's just say, for example, that rice was my main diet of the week, and I needed 4 pounds. I needed 3 pounds of rice to get by in a week. Is that a lot, honey? Oh, but I needed 3 pounds because I'm on a diet, and I have 4 pounds. So if I'm going to show love, I can give that extra pound to somebody who needs it, and I still have 3 pounds to eat. I still have enough. But if I'm going to be sacrificial, and that person has more of a need than just 1 pound, maybe I will be willing to give up 2 pounds of rice and get by with 2. Say, God, just provide for me. Help me get by with 2 pounds of rice for the week. And I sacrificially give to somebody else. Or our money. Let's say that we think that we have $100 a month discretionary income that we could give if we want to. $5 a week, whatever it might be. All of us are probably pretty much on tight budget. So we don't have a lot of money. And so that $5 a week, I have an opportunity to give that. But I have a real sense, for some reason, at that particular point, that person could use it a little bit more. Maybe I should give them $20. That would eat into my needs for the week, or for the month, or whatever it is. But I choose to do that. That's a sacrifice. I'm giving more than I feel like I can afford, more than I want to, more than I can. Trusting God to provide for me when I give in that situation. It's a lot like we can do in missions with missionaries. We don't talk about that a whole lot here, but there are people that represent us on the mission field through Northwest Student Meeting. And they're always in need of finances. And there's the thing that I grew up with. We've not talked about it much here, but it's called faith giving, I think. Through faith, I am promising, with God's help, through faith, to give $1,200 a year to this mission. That's $100 a month. I don't have that. But I promise to give that through faith, and I'm going to believe that God's going to provide that. Many people, including Faye and I, have experienced actually doing that, giving money in faith and God providing. Some way He brought in $1,200 extra that year that enabled us to have the money to give. So you're doing something that's not easy, that you don't think that you have available, but sacrificially you're saying, God, I'm willing to love sacrificially like you love sacrificially to me, and give up something that's important to me, that's valuable, that's needed. Anybody have any comments?